to my channel. My name's Alyssa. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and comment on this video. Today is Thursday, so it's Mental Health Thursdays, and if I'm being honest, I'm filming this at 9:30 a.m. on the day that it is supposed to go up, so let's give a round of applause for my amazing content creating skills. But today is Thursday, so it is Mental Health Thursday, and I thought today's video we could just sit down and chat while I do my therapy homework, because I do DBT therapy since that's the recommended treatment for borderline personality disorder. And this is the workbook that I use, the DBT skills training and handouts workbook, and it's super helpful. And I've been getting more into the habit of genuinely doing my homework, so I thought this would be a nice video, just sitting down and chatting while I do my therapy homework. And let's get right into the video. I have a free PDF link to this workbook in the link tree in my bio, and that'll be in the description box if you want to follow along. Also, I just want to say this lighting is like kind of weird just because of the vines on my window, but that's fine. We're gonna work with it. Okay. Oops. My pen. Basically, my homework, we are working on validation, because whenever I am in a situation, I tend to kind of only think of my point of view and kind of only try to realize or try to like think about how my feelings are valid and not necessarily the other person. So the main thing that we're trying to work on is validating the other person's feelings, so making them feel heard and not just making the entire problem about myself. So this has been helpful. We also have been talking about dialectics, and I think I talked about it in a vlog before, but that has been very helpful because dialectics are just the idea that two opposing things can exist at once. And like same thing with validation, like I tend to forget that people have their perspective of the situation and people have their feelings about it, and it's not just about me. So that's been something that's been super helpful, and we're trying to work on it. So this is the worksheet. It's just basically talking about what validation means. Like the most important thing is that in validation, you don't necessarily need to agree with the other person, or you don't really need to validate like their invalid feelings. You just need to make their feelings heard and try to understand them. So that's what validation means. Why do we validate? This is because it keeps our relationship stable. It shows the other person that we respect them, that we're listening. Also, it hurts to be invalidated. Some important things to validate are the person's feelings, emotions, experiences, also the facts of the situation. Also, it's important to remember that every invalid response makes sense in some way. The first handout that we're going to do for validation is identifying validation, and basically there's 8 different pairs, and there's an A and a B, and you have to check which is the most valid response or the most effective response. So the first one, it says, think about your day when the other person is talking about his or her day, or throw yourself into listening about the other person's day. And I definitely tend to think about like my day whenever somebody's explaining their day to me, and I'm not really listening, which isn't a good thing. So definitely the B, throwing yourself into listening about the other person's day, is super helpful, because like I tend to forget that like I would want people to listen to me, and so I need to try to be more mindful and not zone out. Second one, A, if you are uncertain of people's thoughts and feelings, ask them what they are thinking or feeling, or try to imagine yourself in their situation. Or B, assume that if people want you to know what they are thinking or feeling, they will tell you. Now this is a really big struggle, because I feel like I expect people to just say things without me asking, or to just read my mind and be able to know what I want. But that's not the case. Like, I can't read minds. I don't know exactly how the other person is feeling. Like, I can't expect that same, like, it's not, you know? So definitely, to ask them how they're feeling, or to imagine yourself in a situation. That's something that I definitely need to work on. The third one, observe the small clues that indicate what is going on in social situations, or observe only what people say and ignore nonverbal signals. Again, I also have a hard time with this, just because like I forget that like some people aren't as expressive with their words as I am, and some people can show how they're feeling in like body language or in their actions or other things like that. So I definitely like observing the small clues. Yeah, because not everybody's gonna like say exactly how they're feeling in that moment, but you can pay attention to like the little, like their body language, all of that. So definitely the first one. The fuck is calling me? From Downey, California. What the heck? It's a random number. Decline. Okay, next. 4, jump to conclusions about what people mean, or realize that the same behavior can mean many things. Again, a huge struggle. I think it's just like many of these are like my black and white thinking in my brain just tells me that like it's one or the other. Like, it can't really, like, I can't see the other side of things. So this is always helpful in realizing that like my side always isn't always the best. Yeah, I usually jump to conclusions. Like, for example, with my girlfriend, she'll start talking about something and then I'll like misinterpret it right away and then completely spiral, which in return makes her shut down about what she was talking about, and then turns into like a big thing, you know? So realizing that the same behavior can mean many different things is helpful, but definitely something that I'm gonna have to work on a lot. But yeah, that one. 5, remember that people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors don't always match. Check the facts. B, assume that you can tell exactly what people are feeling and thinking. I feel like that's like kind of the same, but again, yeah, I always think that like I know what other people are feeling or what they're thinking. I'm like, oh, I definitely know that they're talking about me, that they feel this way about me, blah blah blah. But I was just thinking about this, like checking the facts, like it is so helpful, just because I tend to like not look at the entire situation, or like only look at like my interpretations of it or my assumptions. But like if somebody tells me that they love me, they love me. If somebody tells me that they're not leaving me, they're not leaving me. And that's something that I genuinely struggle with, because I'm like, I try to find like a hidden meaning, like I try to assume that they're just saying that to say it and stuff like that. So checking the facts is something that I realized can be super beneficial. Oh my god, they left me a voicemail. Oh, it's from Kaiser. That is so random, because I usually know the Kaiser numbers. Like, they all basically start with like the same 3 numbers, and then like the rest of the number is just like based on like the department, you know, everything. That was a random ass number. Anyways, they're just calling about my meds. Oh my god, my camera gonna die. I think I have to change my battery. But before I change my battery, what we were talking about, checking the facts. Super helpful, something that I need to work on completely. So that one is the more effective response. Okay, I am back, new battery, all charged, ready to go. Where were we? Okay, number 6. A, evaluate other people's behaviors and thoughts and tell them that they are wrong or that they should feel different when you feel sure you are right. Or B, if you do not agree with what the other person is doing or thinking, try to understand how it could make sense if you understood the causes. And B is definitely the right answer. In the moment, it's always just so hard because, like, my dogs are barking. I'm so sorry. In the moment, it's just so hard because, like, when you're in such a mindset, in a crisis, when you're in that emotional mind, then it's so hard to take a step back and realize that, like, you might not be having the most beneficial reactions right then and there. But that's something that I'm definitely working on, like taking a step back from situations before reacting, and like trying to think about the whole situation and trying to really think about the other person, because that's the main thing. Like, I don't really think about the other person when I'm in like my BPD moods, and that's always rough. Oh, there are birds outside. So definitely B. A long process, but we're gonna figure it out. 7, assume that if you tell a person his or her request of you that, wait, why did I just not know how to read? 7A, assume that if you tell a person his or her request of you makes sense, that's all you have to do to validate the person. Or B, when a person asks you for something, giving the person what has been asked for is validation. I think B definitely, because you have to do what the other person, like what would be beneficial for the other person, you know, and not necessarily what you think would just be right for yourself, you know? So definitely giving them, my mind just blanked, giving them their version of validation. 8A, assume that other people's reactions to you have nothing to do with yours to them. 8B, treat each person with respect and as an equal. Definitely B, treating each person with respect as an equal is extremely beneficial in any relationship, but just also in general. Yeah, I was a little confused by the first one, but I get it now, because it says assume that other people's reactions to you have nothing to do with yours to them, and it's like, basically we feel like we want people to cater to us, like we feel like our actions could have no consequences. That was the first one. Then we are going to do page 192, this worksheet, validating others. Basically this worksheet is just writing down all of the times that you have validated or practiced validation during the past week, and I have tried to be more validating in the past couple days at least. So let's work on this. Check off the types of validation that you practiced on purpose with others, paid attention, reflected back on what was said or done, remaining open to correction, was sensitive to what was unsaid, expressed how what was felt, done, or said made sense given the causes, acknowledged and acted on what was valid, act authentically and as an equal. So I definitely feel like the past week I have tried to pay more attention and to like think back to what was said and like try to understand the other person's point of view. So 1 and 2, the other ones, I don't think I necessarily practice them specifically, but still could work on them. Definitely useful. Next part, list 1 invalidating and 2 validating statements made to others. I say a lot like, oh, you should be doing this, you should be feeling this way, like, why don't you do this for me, why don't you do that, like, and I feel like that's not very validating, especially when the person is trying to tell me like how they're feeling and everything, and I'm like, well, I feel this way, so you should do this. I think also a lot of the time I just throw out, like, obviously all people's feelings are valid, but not all feelings are justified. That's the main thing, not all feelings are justified. And that's like what they teach you in DBT. Like, everybody's feelings and emotions are completely valid, but they might not all be justified. And that's something that I need to realize, because like in arguments I'm always like, oh, my feelings are valid, you can't tell me that what I'm feeling is wrong, like blah blah blah. But sometimes I am wrong. You gotta be open to that, like, because I'm always like, oh, like my feelings matter, those should be the most important thing. But there's two people, like, come on Alyssa, come on BPD. Okay, I put my feelings matter, so you should pay attention to me, because I feel like I've definitely said that before. 2 validating statements made to others this week. It just always sucks because I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I have definitely said at least one validating statement this week, because I did have like a long conversation about like what's been going on. So I'm thinking, oh, okay. So basically it's important for people who are partners of somebody with BPD to take their own space, because we can be a lot, like, yeah. And so it's important for like both sides to take space. Us, because so we don't lash out as much. Them, because we could be attacking, and so they can take their space. And I recently realized that like space is important, so that, and like especially important to my girlfriend, that is very helpful for her. So I realized that this week, and I told her, I was like, I understand, I completely get that you need space sometimes, and I will respect that. That's a validating statement. Third, or like the second validating statement, I'm trying to think, because that was the main thing from this week. I think another thing is I forget to understand how my actions affect the other person. And I've said this week, like, I understand how my reactions to things sometimes aren't justified and can be a little extreme for the situation, and I completely understand that and am willing to work on that. Done with those. Next part, describe a situation where you were non-judgmental of someone in the past week. I'm just trying to think, because like my mind is so judgmental. Like I always, it's terrible. Like mainly just like when like I'm talking about my feelings and like somebody doesn't say like the exact thing that I want them to say, I'm like, ugh, they're such a shitty person, blah blah blah, they don't care about me. But no, girly, calm down. I think, yeah, like the main thing would be when I realized that space is super important for my girlfriend, and I need to respect that, because I never did in the past, and that would cause so many fights, because like my BPD thinks space is like the worst thing, but that is going to be beneficial for my BPD in the long run, you know, like becoming my own person. So I think that, or wait, okay, because it says where you were non-judgmental of someone in the past week, and then the next one says describe a situation where you used validation in the past week. So I'm not really sure of like I know the difference, but I think I'm gonna skip the non-judgmental part for a second. I might ask Sam about that tomorrow in therapy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip that one. Okay, describe a situation where you used validation in the past week. The space example. The next one was, who is the person that you validated? I said Brooke, and then it said, what exactly did you do or say to validate the person? And I respected her space, for one, and two, I told her that from now on I would genuinely respect her space when she asked for it, and not continue to spam her with texts. What was the outcome? I think the outcome was pretty good, because we had a good talk. We talked about how something genuinely needs to change, because I haven't been putting as much effort into that, and that's been rough. But the outcome was pretty good. Like, we had a good conversation, kind of realized like what would be helpful for both of us, so that was good. This lighting might just be a little weird. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So, how did you feel afterwards? I felt pretty good afterwards, but still a little worried just because I'm scared that I won't be able to stick to it, but I know that if I tell myself to stick with it and that it's going to be beneficial in the long run, then I hopefully will. Next part is, would you say or do something differently next time? If so, what? And I think just validating from the beginning, asking the other person what they need and what you can do to help them. Yeah, like paying more attention to the other person, I would say. I think that's it. Okay, that is all my homework. Yep, that is all of my homework for therapy, and I have therapy tomorrow, so I got this done. I think it was a good assignment. Like, definitely something that I need to keep working on. Let me turn off my sound. Definitely something that I need to keep working on, and I know that it'll be very beneficial in the future, because validating others is so important. We can't just be caught up in like our own feelings and our own emotions and stay in our emotion like mind. We need to be there for others, especially in a relationship. It's a two-person relationship. It's not just one person. You need to be there for the other person. So, good worksheet. It's in the interpersonal effectiveness module of DBT, and that's honestly one of my favorites because I feel like it genuinely helps a lot with my relationships. And yeah, homework's all done. I thank you all for sitting with me and chatting with me and doing my homework. I love when I feel good after doing therapy homework. It's like the best feeling ever. And that is it for this week's video, for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, the DBT workbook that I have a free PDF in the link tree in my bio, or the link tree in the description box, but I'll also put the link to the free PDF also in the description box by itself too. The lighting is really weird, but I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I love you all so much, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.